the Antichrist may be a forebear to Titus Vespasian. When Titus Vespasian destroys the temple in 70 AD, he may be a great-great-grandson of Antiochus Epiphanes, who desecrated the temple back in 167 BC. That leads to Hanukkah and all that business. So there is a genealogical possibility that may link these. It may or may not be true, but people believe it's true, so it can impact future. That causes some people to expect that the coming world leader will be genealogically linked to these people, even though he's an Assyrian. Interesting stuff. And this all has an impact on the unification of Europe, because the powerful families that are behind the unification of Europe, some of them hold the belief that they are in the Merovingian lineage, and so there's an agenda behind the scenes here. And this agenda, whether it's based on truth or not is important, may have a role in the final confrontations. As I say, Titus Vespasian may be a descendant of Antiochus IV. One of the things you begin to discover, see, you and I tend to assume that people who are into the occult are these fringe characters. And we sort of think mainstream real-world pragmatists aren't messing around with this stuff. No, we got it backwards. We need to understand that the lunatic fringe is not limited to the disenfranchised. There are very powerful people that are Satan worshipers. There are very powerful people that take the occult very seriously, and occultists have been behind much of modern history. You and I recognize that, that the eagle is an ensign. It's interesting to realize that this eagle is a symbol of Israel's enemies, almost invariably. It's interesting to discover that the Spartans may have a link to the tribe of Dan. They may have been Jewish. Some of the first Maccabees, there's a number of early records that tie the Spartans and the Trojans to possibly being of the tribes, which also leads to the Greeks, Antiochus Epiphanes maybe. The Romans were not Greek, but the Roman wealthy royal families intermarried with the Greek royal families, so there's a lot of genealogical linkages there. And the Romans had their eagles, Titus Vespasian and so forth. Herod had his eagle as a symbol. Byzantium and Russia both had the double eagle, looking east and west, was their symbols, still are today. The Franks and the Germans, and of course the British. We have all kinds of signs, whether it's the early Roman eagles or whether it's the German eagles or the what have you. So the role of the occult in modern history, you know, the Thule Society was a collection of occultists in Germany that became the Nazi Party. And you need to understand, Hitler was preoccupied with the occult. He made a main point of getting Longinus' spear. That's the spear that purportedly was the one that pierced Jesus Christ. And when he lost it, he lost it. In other words, there's a whole history, a bizarre history of what's called the Spear of Destiny. And Eisenhower, when they took over, made sure it was returned to the Habsburg Museum where it came from. The Ark of the Covenant. You know, there's a spoof, of course, on the Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it really is just a spoof. But it's based on the fact that Hitler, Mussolini, they were serious about trying to chase down the Ark of the Covenant. And the Master's Treaty. I had an opportunity in 1993 to interview some 40 of the leadership in Europe, in some 9 cities, just on the heels of the Master's Treaty being signed. And what fascinated me, I was traveling with Admiral Bill Middendorf, our ambassador to the European, in those days, European community. And it was interesting, in each country, the shenanigans and maneuvers to get the Master's Treaty finessed through the various approvals was each time different, but always well engineered by power groups behind the scenes. It was very interesting. Well, let's talk. You say, gee, if the eagle turns out to be, for whatever reason, a symbol of Israel's enemies, what about the United States? Isn't the eagle our symbol too? Is it possible that this is somehow linked to the tribe of Dan? What about the back side of the Great Seal of the United States? Have you ever studied it? Take a dollar bill sometime and take a good look at it. Let's see what's in here. If we take the seal of the United States, of course, you've got the eagle, and we've got 13 stars up top, and we've got 13 stripes on the shield, and we've got 13 arrows in his left claw, if you will. Well, we say it belongs to the 13 colonies. Well, maybe it did and maybe it didn't. 13 is also a major Masonic number, some would maintain. Well, what about the e pluribus unum? That means out of many one. Oh, really? Is that a world dominion kind of thing? Possibly. That we see on the thing. Okay. But here's the interesting thing. Count the feathers in the wings. In the right wing, we have 32 wing feathers, which are the levels of the Scottish Rite in Masonry. In the left wing, we have 33 because there's the honorary one that's added. And we then also have 9 tail feathers, which seem to speak of the Council of Nine of the Illuminati. The Illuminati merged with the Masons on the 1st of May of 1776. Well, let's flip this thing over on the back side and see what it says there. That may be more revealing. First thing, notice you can't help miss is the all-seeing eye. See the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid? That's an Egyptian thing. It's called the open eye of Egypt. It's also called the symbol of Osiris. But it's also called the mind's eye among the Gnostics. It's full of this stuff. That's interesting. What's that doing on our dollar bill? And I should mention, by the way, it's on a dollar bill because Henry Wallace was very fascinated with the occult. In 1935, he got FDR to put it on the dollar bill. But we also have this interesting thing here, annuit coeptis. What does that mean in Latin? Announcing the birth of. Announcing the birth of what? Well, by the way, just below that, down here, we have 1776, which most people assume is the birth of our nation. That's fair, except it also is the birth of the Illuminati, incidentally, there at the bottom. But then announcing the birth of Novus Ordo Seclorum. Novus means new, Ordo means order, Seclorum is world or secular world. So this announces the birth of the new world order in the idiom of the Masons, if you will, or the Illuminati. That's kind of fun. Well, maybe there's more surprises here for us to be aware of. What if I told you that there was a 151-foot statue of Mary Magdalene, and she's wearing a toga and holding a grail as a torch in one of the major ports of the world, sculptured by Auguste Bartholdi and funded by the Freemasons of France, Freemasons of the Merovingian line. And there she is. A poem written by M. Lazarus in 1883, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.